Good morning, and thank you for joining me today. What we'll be doing this morning is we're going to be reviewing three types of conjunctions that you'll see in English. And just as a reminder, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Conjunctions operate as a means of connecting parts of a sentence together. The conjunctions that we teach early in the primary years for students here in the US are what's called coordinating conjunctions. And those are sometimes identified using the mnemonic cue FANBOYS, F-A-N-B-O-Y-S, each of which represents a particular coordinating conjunction. As an example, I've listed a couple of those out for you, which are right over here in parentheses. We have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. And so for these coordinating conjunctions, what you'll typically see is they connect two independent clauses together, or grammatically similar elements. Excuse me. All right, moving on to what's called subordinating conjunctions. These introduce a dependent clause to its independent clause, which again, it requires in order to substantiate or complete the thought. You can't have a dependent clause on its own. It has to be linked in some way to an independent clause. And then moving on from there, we have what's called a correlative conjunction, and for this what you're doing is you're comparing in some way two grammatically similar elements. So like as an example, pizza or hamburgers, if you're asking someone to make a decision. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at today's activity, in which for these 5 sentences I'm going to ask that you identify the conjunction used as well as the type of conjunction that you would classify it as. So let's go ahead and start with our first sentence, which reads, she wanted to go to the movie, so she finished her homework early. Excuse me, these hiccups. Okay, so looking at the sentence, I can see that we do have 2 clauses. The first of which I can identify right at the beginning, which is she wanted to go to the movie. It seems to be an independent clause. We've got our subject, she, our verb, wanted, and then wanted to go to the movie, that prepositional phrase. Moving on, it looks like my second clause begins with the same subject, which is she finished. So she, subject, finished, verb, her homework. Always include that object, that possessive pronoun linked to the noun. So her homework early. Okay, so looking at these 2 independent clauses, I can see that we're linking them together using the coordinating conjunction so. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 2. You, subject, can have, ice cream or cake for dessert. Okay, well, I'm looking here. I do see that we have 2 clauses and they've been wedded together using the coordinating conjunction or. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to sentence number 3, which reads, although it was cold, we went for a hike. I do see that we do have 2 clauses, neither of which are the same, meaning one of these clauses for sentence number 3, I would identify as what's called dependent, insofar as it is an incomplete thought. However, in addition to that dependent thought, looks to the dependent clause, we also have an independent clause. Do you think you know which one is which? Okay, well, hopefully you saw that this second clause is the independent clause. It's a sentence that can stand on its own. It's a complete thought, which reads, we went for a hike. Okay, married to that, we have, although it was cold, which, just to reiterate the point of this dependent clause, if I were to strike that independent clause just at the end, and I were to have the sentence stand alone, as it were, and it would read, although it was cold, it wouldn't make sense, especially given the fact that it seems to start with, you guessed it, a subordinating conjunction, although, which alludes to the concept or the idea that additional context will follow. All right, sentence number 4, we're looking at he neither likes coffee nor tea. Not a very pleasant person. All right, let's see. It looks like I've got 2 grammatically equivalent concepts here. We're dealing with both coffee and tea, and it looks like I am using a correlative conjunction in the negative. So we've got nor, which is actually a coordinating conjunction. Still, I've also got neither. And neither and nor are paired together when you're creating that comparative sentence. So here we know that he doesn't like coffee or tea. And again, we've linked those 2 together using a correlative conjunction. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our final sentence, number 5, which reads, the cat slept while the dog played. Again, we've got 2 clauses here. The first of which I would argue is independent because it reads, the cat slept. Okay, that's fine, it's standalone. Second clause reads, while the dog played. Which, of course, in that second clause, hopefully you identified it as a dependent clause. Insofar as if I were to remove, the independent clause at the beginning, while the dog played, it would be an incomplete thought. While, which is our subordinating conjunction, suggests that additional context will follow. Instead, it's left without, therefore dependent. If I incorporate or include that independent clause right at the beginning, it will make sense. So these 2 clauses are wedded together using, once again, that subordinating conjunction. Okay, feel free to go ahead and try your hand at this. I would encourage you to try and make 3 sentences, each sentence of which uses a different kind of coordinating conjunction, subordinating conjunction, and correlative conjunction. It'd be interesting to see what you guys turn out. Okay, hopefully this was helpful for you. Again, it was just a quick review of the 3 conjunction types that we have here in English. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below and subscribe if you'd like to continue to practice with me. Thank you.